Scott Morrison, great to see you again.
Hi, Sharri.
Now, Prime Minister Anthony Albanese rarely mentions China when he's speaking about AUKUS. I interviewed US Congressman Michael McCaul recently, and he said that AUKUS was the single greatest deterrent for China. It was the grouping that they were most terrified of. What's your view about the importance of AUKUS in our region when we are seeing an increasingly aggressive China?
Well, I think our American friends are right about this, and it was certainly our view when we were in government as well. I think that has been one of the early successes of AUKUS, is it has said in a very clear way that the working of allies and partners is one of the greatest deterrents that we have against aggression, against these types of assertions that we saw from the Communist government in China in our region. And AUKUS was designed to deter not just that type of threat, but authoritarian threats wherever we may encounter them, and to have the three most trusted allies and partners of all in the world, I would argue, coming together in this way. But it just doesn't do that. It also then provides a platform for those most trusted of partners to engage with other like-mindeds in our region, whether that be Japan or Korea in particular, but many others across the Indo-Pacific. And we've seen that, and as a result, we have seen that deterrent exercised in our region for a very positive purpose.
Are you concerned that Keir Starmer has ordered a review into AUKUS in the UK?
Well, Sir Stephen Lovegrove was there in the room when we put the deal together. He was the National Security Advisor to my good friend Boris Johnson at the time. We were all up there in Carbis Bay when we had both.
And Joe Biden?
Joe Biden was there, of course, and Jake Sullivan, and we were all there together with Michelle Chan from Australia and Jimmy Kiplotz from my team. And this is the group that formed AUKUS. And so Stephen has, I think, an outstanding understanding of what this is all about, what it's designed to do, why they're the three partners that are in the room. Has a very good appreciation of the two-pillar nature of AUKUS, because if this was just a deal about submarines, then that's all it had to be. But it was far more than that. You know, sometimes you hear, oh, it's just a technology sharing partnership. No, this is a transformational partnership between the most trusted partners of any in the world that is designed to deter authoritarian aggression by developing capabilities that can give effect to that and build platforms for others to engage in for the same purpose.
So you don't think a review is a sign that the United Kingdom might not be as committed to AUKUS?
No, I think it's the opposite of that. I think it's a sign that they are committed to it, and to invite Sir Stephen to do that. As someone who'd worked so closely with the previous government, now he's not partisan, he's a former public official and served as the head of defence and other agencies. But that said, I think this shows to pull someone like that into the process, shows they want to find ways about how they can further commit to it and ensure that they put their own stamp on it. And I think one of the great strengths of AUKUS and why it's such a strong deterrent to aggression is that it is bipartisan. And we've seen that occur here in Australia. We saw it now, seen it occur in the UK, and look, it is in the US as well. I mean, that deal could have as easily have been struck with President Trump as it ultimately was with President Biden. I mean, the work began under President Trump's administration, and we carried it across the two, and it's gone from strength to strength.
And you're confident that President Trump, if elected in November, would continue his commitment to AUKUS?
Yeah, I believe so, and with some knowledge. And I also say it because I've never understood the proposition as to why he wouldn't. I mean, what I know about President Trump is he doesn't abide passengers in these sorts of partnerships, and AUKUS is not a partnership for passengers. We stump up. We are investing. We are doing our bit. We are increasing the overall capacity of all three partners in what we're doing. This isn't just us trailing along behind the United States. This is adding to a collective effort, particularly in our part of the world. And I know they're the types of arrangements that President Trump has always been very supportive of.
And he would know, of course, that it's Australia's idea. It happened under your prime ministership. You saw him recently when you were in the US with your book.
I did, and he also knows that this did occur and started its process during his administration. And it was born of the very issues that we were working together on at the time, and that was the extreme aggression and grey zone tactics we were seeing from China during our time. I mean, it was the Trump administration, our government, that were the first to call out what was happening, and that has really led to what we've seen today, which is a bipartisan position in the United States vis-a-vis the rivalry and the threat, strategic threat posed by China, but equally here in Australia, although the tone of language may be different, I think that's a function of the circumstances. But equally, I would hope that there's been no diminution in Australia's preparedness to accept Chinese aggression in our region. And that's why AUKUS is so important. AUKUS is about countering that.
You say a change of language. You mean the current government and the current foreign minister aren't as forthright in calling out the aggression that we're seeing unfold?
Well, clearly there's a change in tone, and not all of that is not. I think that can be very positive. I think the Chinese government took advantage of the change of government to course correct with their tactics about how they were treating Australia, and I welcome that. I mean, of course we don't want to see illegal trade sanctions imposed on Australia. They were illegal trade sanctions. We did take them to the arbitrator over these issues. The new government has taken a different path on those matters and sought to resolve them, and in many cases successfully. I welcome that. But China's tactics change, but their strategy is the same, and all peace-loving, freedom-loving countries need to never lose sight of that. They see a very different world to the one that we do, and they would like to see a very different region to the one that we currently live in, and that would have significant implications. Now that is now, I think, played out in business, in finance, in capital. We're seeing even Microsoft today reducing its presence in China. We've already seen that from other very large American companies. We've been seeing it out of North Asian companies now for some time. So there is this bifurcation occurring. That doesn't mean it's a complete bipolar global economy, but we are seeing people look at supply chains and commercial and financial relationships through a geopolitical lens. And that all began when we called it out.